Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chloe. I do reading, writing, sometimes lifestyle vlogs, and today it's not a reading vlog, it is more of a bookish video. You know what we're doing from the title of this video, but a few days ago I saw a video on TikTok and it was somebody showing off these book sleeves that they had made for their paperback books. And I was all about that because I have really ugly books on my bookshelf right now that I will not be getting rid of. So why not make them look a little prettier? So let's just jump into it because I have already done the majority of the work for this video. So I'm so excited to show you guys what I did. So obviously I want to kind of give credit where credit is due. So I am going to link in the description the exact TikTok video that I followed to do this. It was super, I say it was super easy, but there were some hiccups, which you might see, but basically the outline is I need to pick out the books that are ugly. No offense to the cover designers, just not my cup of tea. I need to measure, and I literally had to go digging for my measuring tape to do this. So I have to measure the books. Then I have to create the covers off of Canva. I've already done 3 of those things. Then I need to upload it to Staples, and then go pick it up from Staples. And then I've got to cut out the covers and put them on the books. So, well, also I forgot, pray that I did it right, and I don't waste money printing these out. But to kind of prevent that, what I did is I only picked 3 books. I reeled it in a little bit. I did only pick 3 books so that if I messed up too badly, I can kind of, tweak what I did and hopefully do something better so I can do this with the rest of the books that I wanted to do it with. So let's talk about the books that I ended up choosing. All right, first book I have is Bride by Hazelwood. And I don't hate this cover. I actually think it's kind of cute, and I'm excited for Mated because without the book sleeves, they'll be like matchy covers because it's like the grayscale with the green. But something about this cover is that you can see right here that it's kind of like messed up. It was bent. I have this thing where I kind of get attached to things I carry around in a store. Walk with me with what I mean by that. So I picked this up at a Barnes & Noble and I pulled it off the shelf and I was walking with it and I held it for a really long time while I was searching for another book. And then I realized that it was messed up, and also there's a little bit of chipping on the spine. And I was like, oh no, it's damaged. I was still in the store. I hadn't checked out or anything, but then I thought it would be so sad for me to put down the book just because the cover was messed up. And then I was like, what if nobody ever picks up this book because the cover's messed up? And so she came home with me. Yeah. And yeah, I know exactly how that sounds. That does sound a little crazy. But we're just gonna give her a little bit of a makeover. That's the first one. Second one is Alone with You in the Ether by Olivie. And if you guys know what the original cover of Alone with You in the Ether looks like, I'll just pop it right there. I thought that was gorgeous, stunning, beautiful. I love the simplicity of it. And I actually think that cover matches the vibe so much more than a teal one with bees on it. I get why the bees are significant to the story, but I want to make it a little bit more. It wasn't dark academia, but it was bordering because there's art galleries and the professor aspect, and I think I could do better. So I wanted to do this one. Also, I got this as a gift from a friend. Basically, we went to a bookstore together in one of my previous vlogs, and we bought each other books. And because of that, this will be staying on my shelf, even though it wasn't my favorite love story in the world. And I'm just gonna zhuzh her up a little bit, cover these little bees, okay? And last but not least, the book I have here I'm going to be very nice to because it was a self-published book. It is a book series that, despite all odds, is very near and dear to my heart. And I do know the lore behind that. Again, this is self-published, and the author's sister creates all the cover art for her series. And that's their prerogative. I know a lot of people had a problem with the cover for the 5th book. I like that lore. And you wanna know what? If I don't like the cover, which I don't, I'm just gonna fix it myself. And that is Foxhole Court. This is the one that I want to redo the entire series with, but I want to make sure that I've done it all correctly before I full send it and spend a bunch of money. Makes sense, right? I also like just now realized like how like bright white these pages are compared to like normal books. I never noticed that before. But yeah, like there's just, this is self-published, so there are like known issues with these books, like very specifically, like this isn't centered. Sometimes there's misprinting on the actual pages. I read all of them on Kindle, so I don't have no idea if I have any misprints in here. But there's, I really wanted to do some of those fan-made covers for the books, but the problem with that is that the lore behind these books is that the first 3 came out like a decade ago, and the author randomly picked back up to make a second trilogy, and more, which is crazy. We got more. There's more that's been announced. I can't get on the soapbox right now. I just can't. Incorrect use of the word soapbox. Moving on. But so because the fandom was really active, like when Tumblr was like at its prime, people have redesigned covers for the first 3, but not everybody has redesigned for the first 2 of the second trilogy that's come out. Besides, there's one artist who did the first 4 books, but has yet to do one for the 5th book. And I can't have that. Like, I need continuity in it, even if I'm gonna be the one creating it. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna do it myself. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna follow the tutorial, and I'm going to create the book sleeve. So it's gonna be like the full front, spine, back, and then a few inches to curve in and around the front covers. So I have images that kind of reminded me of the book. I wanted to kind of create like a little bit of a theme. I obviously have the title on the front and side spine of the book, and then I'm gonna put my favorite like significant quote on the back, and I'm so excited because I was like poring over the quotes to try to find whichever ones I wanted to put on it. And with this one I was so indecisive that I almost put the second quote I wanted like on the inside cover. I also kind of played around with the idea of putting the summaries on the front, or on the front flap, but I don't know what the quality is gonna look like yet. I don't know how much I trust Staples, how much I trust my own abilities to find quality images that can be blown up to the size that they're gonna be blown up. So this is all very trial and error. So I'm gonna be quiet now. No, I'm not. That was such a lie. I'm not gonna be quiet. I'm gonna move over to voiceover now. But you're going to see me measuring the books, setting up how I'm going to start designing the covers, and then the final covers. So I'll see you guys hopefully when I have the covers in my hands. I'll see you guys next. All right, bye. Hello party people, it is voiceover Chloe here. This is just me showing you guys how I did all the measurements. So measured width, I measured length of the front cover, I also measured the spine. So I will show you guys how to put it in. Basically, I think I did 3 extra inches for the wraparound, and then you'll see I'm trying to like figure out what those little like all the little hash marks on the measuring tape mean. And I actually stepped away from here for just a second just because I looked up one of those things on your phone that shows you the conversion from the hash mark to the decimal point, but honestly, like, I really don't think I would recommend that because you will see that I did indeed do the measurements wrong. So that was really, really fun for me, and I am gonna have to redo some of the covers. Honestly, I think my solution for next time is that I'm just gonna kind of put it up to the closest fourth and just kind of hope for the best, because you can see that I'm really trying to find the exact measurements, and I think that's what really messed me up actually, because you'll see that I'm measuring the spine right here, and I think all of the spines actually, those were the only things that were absolutely perfect on each of the covers that ended up being printed out. So there was something, instead of being wrong with the spacing, you can call it, I think the scaling. I know that wasn't incorrect because all of the spines were perfect and all of the spines were on a pretty exact decimal point with like a fourth, like a 0.75 or 0.25, if you know what I mean there. So yeah, I was hoping that it was maybe Staples, or actually I ended up getting this from FedEx because FedEx had same day pickup. I was hoping it was them that had kind of messed it up, but no, I do actually believe it was me. So yeah. The rest of this video is just me incorrectly measuring things, so I'm gonna cut it off here and I will show you guys the design process next. So let's move on. Okay, so obviously the first step was to go to Pinterest, and there's an embarrassing amount of fan art on here. But that did actually help me find stuff for the Foxhole Court because there was a lot of lacrosse stuff. But yeah. So this is where one could say that the cookie crumbled. I had a really hard time here. So first of all, I put it in the wrong format of what I needed to do. And then I finally added it in correctly. And once you do that, it gives you this really kind of long piece of paper. And so here I am putting in the flaps to fold in. And so what I did is I just made one on one end, one on the other, and then I put in the spine, which you see me doing right now, and I just kind of dragged it where it kind of tells you how far it is, but I didn't have exact measurements really because I couldn't figure out how to get Canva to give me more decimal points, if that makes sense. But in the end, I kind of just did the spine in the middle and I lined it up perfectly in the middle, so assuming that the front and the back cover would be the correct size. That's where I was wrong. So just watching back as I struggle with this is just so funny, because what I'm doing right now, where I'm trying to put in multiple blocks, is exactly what I should have done. I think I ended up doing, I just got so frustrated that I stopped recording it, but these bigger boxes I'm trying to put in, what you need to do on Canva is you need to do the ones that you can enter a picture into. You see, I'm trying to figure it out and get it perfect. It wasn't working. So again, I stopped measuring it, or I stopped recording because I was getting so angry. But never fear, I did actually get the designs figured out. So I will show those in just a second. Okay, so this was actually my favorite part, and that's where I got to decide on the quotes that I wanted to put on the dust jackets. So you can see that I did most of the Foxhole Court, or the All for the Game series, which is why it's so long. But for the Foxhole Court, I ended up deciding on the don't look back, don't slow down, and don't trust anyone, be anyone but himself, and never be anyone for too long. I think I changed himself to yourself just so it made sense. And then for Alone with You in the Ether, I said, whatever you are made of, Charlotte Reagan, I am made of it too. And then for Bride, I chose the one that was, maybe you're not meant for me the way I'm meant for you, but I'm going to choose you anyway, over and over again. So romantic, but I am so excited for when I get to make the Kingsmen. As you can see, there's only one quote that I was ever going to use, and that was the "You were amazing" quote, and I'm so excited for that one. And finally, everyone, here are the covers. First of all, I absolutely cooked with all of them. Thank you, Clemson, for having the tiger paw, so I can use that for my All for the Game. I've been told that the bride makes it look like that first cover makes it look very dark. Doesn't exactly match the vibe, but I loved it. And for Alone with You in the Ether, I really wanted to focus on the art gallery aspect of it, just because I felt like that was so significant to their story. So let me know what you guys think of the covers. I kind of wanted to do a reveal when I first saw the covers, but unfortunately I did open them in FedEx. They made me open them just to make sure that there was nothing wrong with them and that they were what I wanted, and I was super jazzed when I opened them. But when I got home, I immediately noticed that I mismeasured somewhere and they did not fit the books. But I thought to myself, by God, Chloe, you have put so much effort into filming this video that you are going to see it through. And I decided I was just going to cut them out and I was going to see how they fit on the books. So I wanted to use my friend's paper cutter because I thought that I would get really nice lines and it would be better than if I just like hand cut them out with scissors. And I want to say, bad idea. Very bad idea. I genuinely think it took me 45 minutes to get all of them cut out to the way that I wanted, when it would have taken me so much less time with scissors. So I am actually going to retry this. I want to see if I can get the books to actually fit, and I want to just cut them out with scissors next time. But I do want to bring attention to this cutie little studio I'm at that you might have seen in some of my other vlogs. This is Tiny Chaos Studios in Boston. My friend Sam and my other friend May opened an art house / DIY press-on nail bar that they so kindly let me use all the time for free. They literally don't ask anything of me, and I get to hang out in this really cool space, and I do actually have a discount code if you guys want to take some of their classes. I think it's like, I get like 40% off if 2 people sign up, I think. Well, you know, also the code is CLOCREW. I'm gonna put it in the description if you guys are interested. I highly recommend, and sometimes I'm lurking there. But yeah, so you can see that this, I did the All for the Game book first because it was the only one that I knew would fit. Oh, she's gorgeous. I'm actually so happy with how this one turned out. And here are the next 2 books. Obviously, I'm a little less happy with how those turned out. You can see that to have it fit on the book, I had 2 strips of white kind of at the top and the bottom. I tried to center those evenly, and also like a little tiny bit of the inside flap over, like came over onto the cover. But again, the spines are perfect. So I don't think it was a scaling issue. I'm honestly not really sure what happened. See, look at that. I don't know. It must have been something with my measuring. I am going to try it again with some other books, but that is what we're working with now. You know, you make some mistakes and you try again. Here's me moving all those little freaking scraps out of the way to get some good shots of the books. And here's a final look at the covers. Because I'm me, I completely forgot to film an outro, so this is the outro that you guys are gonna get. But I'm actually really proud of how they turned out for the first time, like my first attempt. I think the designs were really cool and I was really happy with how they turned out. Obviously we had some hiccups, but I'm still really excited to try again. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more from me.